From what I've seen from the Western experience, if I can't see it, then it can't be real. Or I didn't learn that from school, so it must be false. We're so conditioned that our reality comes from our five senses. Everything else is probably a figure of imagination or hallucination. If a blind man would tell us the world doesn't exist because I can't see it, we would all laugh. Yet as a society, we are acting like a blind man. What is it in man's nature he wants to know? But at the same time, when the truth is shown, he turns his head in the opposite direction. Are we so materialistic that we have forgotten? I've said many times that American Indians couldn't quite figure us out. We figured we could own all the land, and still do. They have a completely different understanding of the universe that we do. To this day, Western man has failed to see the truth. Yet our modern day scientists are discovering and uncovering mysteries of life. They are learning from the so-called indivisible. Yet it takes a long time for our society to integrate those experiences. Each one of us has their own individual lab to discover the mysteries of life. Years ago, man thought it would be impossible to send pictures and sound via the airwaves. Nowadays, we spend hours a day watching the tube. It's time for us to expand our horizons. Your mind is an incredible instrument. I have thought of inventions before they even existed. You have the same capability. Dream about the possibilities of you experiencing your Creator. In the end, we just have to shift our mindset. We don't know all the answers. We will never stop learning. Trust that you have inner senses that are waiting to be explored. Here we are, living on this planet in such a vast universe. Throughout our existence, man has been fighting with himself for thousands of years. Can we as a race ever come to a common understanding that we can cooperate with each other? Each nation has its own goals and dreams. Yet all nations, deep at its essence, want the people to have true joy and happiness in their life. Deep inside our consciousness, this is what man wants. Because we are so lost at times in our own pursuit, we can't compromise with another people, society, or country. Mankind has to learn to be tolerant with one another and to have compassion for his fellow man. We are approaching a time when we have to change our ways. In a few years, a vast network is being created. What happens anywhere in the world can be known within minutes, anywhere in the world. We as a people need to focus on global ways to help this planet. We all believe in the same God, but have different expressions of it. This is exciting times for man. I feel our leaders need to take a look at their actions. Where are they headed? Do they have the world and country in their best interest, or is that a hidden agenda? The American people is sick and tired of the waste and greed in our government. Everybody wants change, but nobody knows how. We have gotten ourselves in a great mess. I feel the only way a nation and a world can change properly is the people must change themselves. We have to first take the necessary steps. If we would change accordingly, the world around us would change. The consciousness of man has to change. We must pull in the reins of our lives. America has great potential. We can be leaders in this world. Each of us can be citizens in this global world. We are also different and yet also similar. Let's make a change that we're proud of. Let's not be shaded by that we know what's right for some culture, country, or person. Let's be open and give a helping hand for those in need. Who is wiser, the man who has graduated with top honors, or a man who understands life itself? What good is life if we never realize and experience in our daily lives the power of life itself? Wisdom comes from inside our being. For me, Christ or Buddha were full of wisdom. Their knowledge was different from book knowledge. Their knowledge was one of practical experience. True wisdom is different than knowledge learned from books. It is a being who is in tune with the universe. Christ didn't have to prove anything to anybody. He mastered himself, who was an example of love and compassion. He had true wisdom. Buddha sat underneath the Bodhi tree for years and eventually mastered himself. He enlightened. Both of these teachers showed man that there's an experience of wisdom inside of us. There's a kingdom of heaven which exists within. There is a saying, he who knows doesn't say, and he who knows doesn't say. Christ and Buddha experience proved to the world the meaning of obtaining wisdom. Their experience was definitely out of this world. They came and taught and left us with a great message which lives to this day. Their message was simple. All of us have the same capability as Christ or Buddha. Christ said greater things will be done by man. The tool exists inside of us. The entire universe is beckoning for us to once again know who we are. Let's walk right through the door. When I first received knowledge in India, I felt the whole world would want to receive this experience. I had such a powerful experience that I thought the whole world would want it. People did in fact flock to it. In the beginning, I had a lot of short sightings. I felt as a group we felt we were right and the world was wrong. This is a classic example of being fanatical. This goes back to the age-old dilemma of religion. God is on my side. A person who is fanatical can't see the forest from the trees. These days I'm glad to see that diversity in all the religions. Each religion is a flower on a garden of life. I feel if each one of us fine-tune ourselves in the manner that fits us, the world would be in a better place. Nature has taught me a lot. The sun always shines, and the wind always blows. Nature doesn't try to convert anybody. It just is. It has nothing to prove. Maybe we should learn from it. By knowing ourselves, we can simply be in love with this world. We can be like a child. Experiences come and go, but the thing which ties us together is love. Through that experience, we can accept the world as it is. We had more tolerance for each other. This world would be in a better place. It's kind of amazing to look back over the years and see how far we have grown. In the end, I see what Maraji was trying to do years ago. Maraji had to overcome his students' fanaticism. They were at times his weakest link. He was doing his job, and I see people had intentions but were following it up. Maybe as a whole society can learn from one another. Even if something means the world to you, it doesn't mean that it's made for the person next to you. If it may be true, people come on their own terms and time. I haven't been involved in Raji's movement for about 10 years now. I'm still part of it. Knowledge keeps on growing. I'm not biased or need to convince anybody of the experiences that I had. They were genuine. People listen when they have nothing to prove or convince anybody. I know when someone tries to put on a salesman job. Fortunately, Raji wasn't a salesman. That experience lives on. Where is man's true home? We're only here on this Earth planet for a brief flicker in time. Where is our true home? Man has been trying to solve this question for a long time. We come into this world and we leave. What is our purpose on this earth? Or is there a purpose? Is our life some random event? Does humanity just carry on without even thinking about these kind of questions? Have you ever sat and looked at the stars and marveled at the perfection of the universe? We live on this small planet named Earth. This planet contains thousands of different animals and species. It has wondrous mountains with gorgeous sunsets. It contains the sea with all the beautiful creatures. It is alive. And we go through our 9-to-5 existence until we retire, and then we die. For thousands of years, great teachers such as Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, and Krishna have come to this planet. They talked about going home. Christ talked about his kingdom was there with his Father. He said you belong to the same kingdom. Buddha talked about his home, which pervading beyond time and space. All of us want to go home. The peace and joy that we experience comes directly from our home. We receive small impulses and messages that yes, there is a greater home than this earth. On earth, we can learn many valuable lessons, but it's only a school. Eventually, you have to return home. Everything eventually goes back to its source. It goes back to the Creator. Maybe someday the whole universe will collapse and return back to its Creator, and then maybe the whole cycle will start again. Our home is beyond this physical universe. It is beyond the stars, the galaxy, the Milky Way. It lies beyond what we can even imagine. It lies with our Father. It's amazing, this human body. It's easily the most intelligent computer in the universe. How this body functions is a miracle. And yet man is wired to be more than this current miracle. We walk, talk, think, move, and play that would be impossible for any robot. But we have some ability that we have even tapped into. We have the ability to tap into our Creator. Man's circuitry has the ability to tap into this experience. All the necessary apparatus is in place. What we need is the will and knowledge how to tap into this. I feel as a race, many of us are tapping into this kind of experience. People all over the world are beginning to open up. All of us have the capability. It is a choice. Do you want to experience your true home while you are alive? You can. Every day, every moment of our life is a miracle that's taking place. And yet, we miss out on it. If we would be conscious of it, we would be completely satisfied. We look for joy and happiness every day of our life. We get married, have kids, we work, and we play. At some level, man is looking for completeness. He is looking for the secret of life. It's kind of amazing. It's right between our eyes. and we miss it. The Indians have a story that the Lord wanted to hide from man. He thought, where should I hide? In the earth or stars? He knew over time man would discover him. Finally, he came up with a plan. He would inside of man. Man would never look there. It's a story, but unfortunately at times it's true. Mankind as a whole doesn't realize that the power of the whole universe lies inside of us. Endless joy. We can't even imagine what a power it is. We breathe 24 hours a day, and we fail to recognize the power of breath. What it is keeping us alive. Have we ever stopped farming? For many people, they simply aren't interested. Why should I want to know that? I don't have time for that. We weren't made to understand that, but we were and can have that experience. Let's stop and ask ourselves the question, where do I start? From that question, you're on the road, join the club. Your life will start to take off. Man has such a potential in his life. We're all born with a unique gift to offer this world. Unfortunately, in this present time, there is so much bureaucracy and a spirit of giving up in this world. We need to rekindle the spirit in this world. Each of us contains the spark of creation. We need to learn to create a passion for life. Drugs and alcohol are rampant because we as a society have given up. We have millions of prisoners locked up in prisons. They have given up on life. In our school systems, we don't learn about the virtues of life. We don't learn how precious every moment is. We need to take a look at the universe. We need to take a look at ourselves. Each one of us is a part of the circle of life. Deep down, further than the cellular level, we are part of God's creation. We need to tap into that experience. Can you imagine what would happen if man would consciously tap into this energy? His life would surely change. He would be motivated. We need an inner motivation. In our highly competitive world, morals and ethics have completely left the picture. We are at total war with one another. We have takeovers and buyouts. Just think, many take over the people who take over the company have zero interest in the common worker. They're interested in making a profit. If a man is a cutthroat and a real fighter, he can make it big in the business world. Honesty and compassion are traits not to be had. We scheme and try to get company secrets. France has a CIA force which lurks on American businesses and obtains valuable secrets. They declare it a business war. With this type of leadership, where are we headed? Many of the world's businesses would laugh at compassion and honesty. Yet compassion is like water. It is very viable and a powerful force. Without compassion, man would have perished probably a long time ago. Compassion is the glue which holds the human consciousness together. Without it, we have a Hitler or Napoleon on our hands. Businesses are so much into making a profit that ethics have gone by the wayside. We are only interested in being millionaires. Howard Hughes was probably one of the richest men on earth, but in the end, was he truly happy and content? Was he full of compassion? A man who has compassion is perfectly at ease with his world, his neighbors, nature, and ultimately his creator. He is truly free. He needs no money to be happy. He can have all the money in the world and he will still be content. This state of awareness is not taught in our schools. We train our children mostly on ways to achieve financial success, but we don't have a clue about mastering ourselves. Compassion is a gift from God. In order to change this world, we have to be compassionate. If we truly want world peace, each one of us has to develop and pray for compassion. I know of many students who have an attitude that my teacher is better than your teacher. I say, so what? Each teacher is totally different and unique. If you go to the university, even if you have a lousy teacher, if you wanted, you would learn. Now you could have the greatest teacher on the face of the planet. If you didn't want to learn, you wouldn't. I believe you are your own teacher. They are there to assist and guide you. But it's up to you to do your lessons. You have to want to learn. Ravi said you could take a horse to water, but you can't make a drink. He said, well, you can put salt in this food. Teachers put salt in our food. They give us the raw inspiration that we need. I know with all the teachers I had, I received the inspiration to carry on. Over the years, I have also learned of my inner teachers. These teachers can come in the form of visions, dreams, and emotions. Our inner teacher is ever present in our life because it is ourselves. We just have to be still and learn how to communicate with it. Your inner teacher is your closest friend. It is there always to support you. I have learned over time to respect all teachers. It took me a long time. Even if I have more feelings about certain teachers, I have learned respect. They're only trying to help humanity in their own way. Sometimes they fail, so do we. We are all teachers. Let's be open to one another. So many times a new concept or idea happens on this planet, and the world laughs. I don't care what human arena is, but we do it. Years later, it becomes the truth. In the meantime, we are the fools. In the end, I would like to congratulate all the teachers on this planet. You are taking the right step. One of the greatest events in the history of mankind is happening right before our eyes, and we're not even aware of it. This world has reached a juncture where we must decide where we want to go. We can obviously blow ourselves up, or we have few wonderful options. The Great White Brotherhood is a consortium of beings who help balance the state of affairs on different dimensions. They have existed for eternity. There are many wonderful beings who have merged themselves as a single and separate consciousness. There are both sides of the coin. They are separate entities, yet at the same time, they are a group with a common consciousness. They are here for universal justice. They don't enforce their way on anyone, but if you want their assistance, they will come in any shape, way, or form. The majority of all our great spiritual teachers, past, present, and future, are part of this consortium. They are here because they love humanity. At this critical time in the history of the planet, we need help. Our government can't solve the problems. There are millions of people on the face of this planet who are part of this master plan. Some are aware and some not. We can blow ourselves up in disharmony, or we can learn how to live in harmony. It's our choice. They will never harm us. Their aim is to protect humanity, but it is our decision. Humanity as a whole has to make that decision. Do we want chaos like we have now, or do we want a planet where happiness, cooperation, and tolerance reside? I have met many of these beings, and they are the most compassionate beings you will ever meet. A lot of them have lived lives and know our drama. They learn to transcend this world. Their joy is to assist and teach us ways to improve our lives. They're not interested in changing your religion. They just want you to be a better Christian if you're a Christian. If you're a Buddhist, be like a Buddha. Live in compassion and tolerance that the Buddha preached. We are all brothers and sisters from the Almighty Father. They have been sent here by our Father to help humanity. What would this world be like if we all lived in compassion towards each other? We would be in peace. We are living in disharmony. When man lives in disharmony, his civilization goes down the tube. We have the ability to change ourselves. Each one of us has all the help we need if we request our help. We should pray and ask for guidance in our lives. Let's stop pretending we know all the answers. We don't. Help from the entire universe is at each one's beckoning call. We just have to ask. It's time humanity wakes up. A lot of people think I'm too busy with my life. Well, when your last breath leaves your body, how busy will you be? Let's build a safe place in this world. We all have the same dream. One teacher who I never met nor have ever studied under is Maharishi Mahesh Yogi from India. He came to the States in the mid-50s and for the first time taught people to meditate. People from all walks of life have learned to meditate. He was the one who got the ball rolling in the West. There were teachers before, but they had a small following and required you to live a certain lifestyle. TM, or Transcendental Meditation, was for the common man. Millions of people in the States received this initiation. It was very scientific. It wasn't religious at all. It provided a way for people to get rid of stress in their lives and experience peace. Studies have shown that meditation can reduce crime in areas where people meditate together. Man can change the global consciousness by meditation. People were tapping into parts of consciousness that was beyond the space-time continuum. A lot of them were doing it subconsciously, but nevertheless it was happening. Each thought and emotion that we have contains an amount of energy. Man's energy pattern at this moment is one of disharmony. This is the main reason we have war, crime, and frustration in our lives. Our inner consciousness reflects our outside life. In the West, there are probably hundreds of different groups which are trying to change their consciousness. The snowball is rapidly gaining momentum down the mountain. Be here now. This phrase, be here now, has turned really into a cliche. Yet there's a lot of truth behind this phrase. As human beings, we have a tendency to live in the past or live in the future. I remember as a kid, I always wanted to be older, and when you're older, you want to be younger. We don't know how to live in the pure joy of this moment. We don't ever smell the flowers. The whole world is so preoccupied about their life, they don't realize the miracle of life itself. If one would experience the miracle of life, you would be present here and now. Your consciousness would be here, not in the past or the future. Most people don't know the power of the mind. If you would ask who has control over you or your mind, they would say, of course I do. But if you showed them how to meditate, they would be surprised. So many people I know have given up meditation because it's very difficult to control the mind. They will come up to me and say, I never knew my mind would chatter so much. I would just laugh because I was there myself. Practice makes perfect. By putting in the effort, we can learn to control the mind. The mind is our friend. Man has to learn how to meditate 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter what state whether you're in awakening, dreaming, or sleep state, we can be conscious of the energy that's keeping us alive. I'm not there, but I do see the possibility. It's not impossible, but it can happen. In that state of awareness, we would be present in this moment. How many times have we had experience that came to us? Maybe we just weren't there. Maybe it could be like making love. You're there, your body is there, but the mind and your consciousness is somewhere else. You have gone through the motions, but missed the experience. A lot of times our bodies are running on a subconscious level. We aren't quite there. The phrase "be here now" has been around for a long time now. Let's shift our consciousness so we can truly understand its meaning. I know a lot of people think that it's an old hippie phrase, but it's not. It came from the Sanskrit language, Sat Chit Anand. Sat means truth, Chit means consciousness, and Anand means bliss. Truth is the consciousness of bliss. All over India, this phrase is plastered all over the temples. It's been used for thousands of years, long before our present Western civilization. Even back then, man had the same problem. He lived in the past or the future. Have you ever noticed how, as human beings, we have the tendency to blow things out of proportion? We love to take our problems and totally blow them up like a balloon. I know I have done that. Probably most wars have started this way. Somebody says something that hurts your ego, and the next thing you know, nations are fighting with one another. Sometimes we as human beings, we don't respond rationally. What would our response be like if we just stopped, took a deep breath, and just relaxed for a moment? We might see a different picture. We might see that read words that really weren't there. At that point, we could easily defuse the bomb. Once we light the fuse, it's very difficult for two people or nations to stop the conflict. We do the same in everyday life. The husband comes home, tired from work, and the wife snaps at the husband because she's frustrated by something else. The husband snaps back and a fight occurs. If we could just relax for one moment and defuse the bomb like, you see you're tired, let's make some dinner, things will be alright. I know I have a lot to learn from relationships. It took me years to realize that humans don't have telepathic conversations with others. My brother and I had this type of communication. When it got time for a relationship with others, I had to develop the necessary skills. Men and women have to learn how to help one another. I know for men it's hard to express our emotions. We were taught never to cry. We should suppress our emotions. It took me time, but I'm learning to express my emotions. When I'm happy, I'm happy. When I'm sad, I'm sad. If I cry, I cry. Emotions are tools for us. Once we learn about our emotions, we can really enjoy this life. Our body will love us for it. Each time we suppress an emotion, the emotion gets suppressed into our body. We can be stiff as a board. Have you ever seen someone who is very stuffy? Not only is their emotions, but also their body. They aren't flexible with life. They carry an attitude about life. We, as humans, have a lot to learn. I sure do. Yet each step of the way can be a meaningful experience. Next time we see a molehill, let's stop, look and listen. Maybe it won't turn into a mountain. Isn't it kind of amazing that for years man believed that the world was flat? We believe that if a ship was to sail off into the horizon, it would eventually fall off the face of the earth. For years, science and philosophy have been in touch with each other. Philosophy at times was based upon our present scientific understandings. With present-day science, each scientist is a specialist in his field. The present-day philosophy can't keep up with all the various new discoveries, nor can the present-day science. Science has become an evolution revolution. New discoveries are made every day. Meanwhile, on the philosophy side, we have kind of stagnated. Maybe it's time for a new way of learning and of perceiving ourselves and our world. Our thinking is still primarily based upon the same thinking patterns as the past. Most of us still think that intelligence only comes from the brain. But scientists know that intelligence exists inside the whole human body. In fact, there is a fine line between our body and the mind. Can we discover new ways of thinking? Can an image be a powerful thinking experience? What is the power of thought and where does it come from? Is it possible to be in touch with universal intelligence? Is there a universal intelligence? A lot of so-called wisdom is based upon facts. A person can get straight A's in school, but is he truly wise? He may know a lot of worldly knowledge and facts, but has he developed his imagination? A lot of inventions and theories were developed by imagination. Just imagine young Einstein having a dream and realize a piece of the puzzle that he was trying to figure out. Can we discover an intelligence inside of ourselves that we have yet to dream about? A lot of our scientific discoveries are based upon capitalism. We tend to leave out the effect on the environment and the effect on nature. Can man, as a civilization, ignore the fact that we are in charge of the destiny of the planet? Can man make the transition where science and nature can be in harmony with each other? Science has been divorced from nature for over 1 century. Scientists tend to think that it can control nature. It seems to think the earth has unlimited resources. It's now time for man to tap into an intelligence that hasn't been tapped into for a long time. It exists inside of us. It doesn't exist in books, learning, nor lectures or schools. Our whole life system is composed of this intelligence. Is life itself? Somehow man thinks, what can life teach me? Look at what I've done. Well, stop breathing for 10 minutes and then tell me what kind of intelligent life has. You will know that life itself contains the key. In terms of religion, I feel that we should go beyond our books. So many times we feel our book is the only way to heaven. But a book only points the way. A book inspires us to be compassionate and loving to our neighbors. You can take any person who's fanatical about their religion and take him to an enlightened person, and that person will probably just smile. He has nothing to prove. He is content. He experiences his Father. I love to read scriptures. I love the inspiration that comes from them. But I also want to practice the ideas that come from the book. So many wars have been fought due to the word of God. God is only on my side, most pagans. Look at the Crusades. Most wars directly or indirectly involve God. Maybe it's time we all sit down and realize we're talking about the same thing. It's like the elephant story with 3 blind men touch an elephant. One man touches the elephant's ears, another the trunk, and the last one the elephant's foot. Each one of them is convinced their experience is real. It is, but it's not the complete picture. We can all learn from each other. My travels around the world has brought me in touch with so many different cultures and religions. We are all talking about the same God. We just use different metaphors, and our books are different. The essence is the same. I've looked at the major scriptures around the world, and they talk about the same experience. All of them talk about light, the light of God. Do they mean I see the light of the matter, or is there a practical experience that each human being can experience? It's amazing science and religion are so closely tied together. Einstein said that energy equals mc squared. Mass. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Energy equals God. But religions call God, scientists call energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. God cannot be created nor destroyed. Energy is, was, and will always be. God was, is, and will always be. All scriptures talk about the Word of God, the Word that cannot be spoken with these lips. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In the past, the Word was named Logos in Greek. Logos means energy. In the beginning was a primordial energy. The primordial energy was with God, and the primordial energy was God. The Hindus talk about Sat Nam. The Muslims talk about Pak Nam. All these religions talk about the Word of God. The Word was, is, and will always be. The whole vast universe with all the galaxies and stars are contained in this primordial energy. Christ said he was the Word made flesh. The Father and I are the same. We come from that same Father, that same energy. Christ said, greater things ye shall do. We have the capability to have that kind of experience. Our Father lies within. We don't have to die to see our Father. Christ was an example of that. I believe in the universality of religions. I don't think we need to convert one person from one religion to another. Let man keep his own religion and find God instead of his own heart. Then we should see that we're talking about the same thing. In the end, let's read the scriptures and practice what we preach. Let's all be full of compassion, tolerance, and love that these great masters taught. As you can see, I've had a lot of different experiences in my life. All of them are without any meaning about the power of love and compassion. A person can't control the whole world and move mountains with his hand, and yet without love, he has wasted his life away. Heaven on earth is based upon love and compassion. We have had so many wonderful teachers in our lives, the Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, and Krishna. Each one taught about the power of love. If we want heaven on earth, we should be already radiating that love. It is possible. If each one of us took our responsibility to manifest love and compassion, the world's problems would go away. We would cooperate with each other. Greed would go away. Heaven on earth is a state of mind. We would respect nature and all the animals. Because we have lost sight of who we are, the world is in a mess. We all have the power to change. All we have to do is want to. If we ask for the necessary change, our intelligence will assist us. Do we want a better world for our children? Can we learn from our mistakes? Humanity is at a juncture. Are we going to survive or blow ourselves away? Can we be more tolerant? I admire the Buddhists and all of the faiths who pray for world peace. Each one of us should pray for peace in this world. The Tibetan Buddhists got thrown out of their country, and yet they practice nonviolence. They go all over the world and pray for peace. How powerful a statement. Here in Hawaii, a lot of Buddhists live. I believe that we can change. This is our innermost desire. Our whole being comes from that supreme creator that is love. If we look, we will find. I have seen so many people with a quest for love. That one day in our future shall the world reside in peace. Heaven and earth, a state of mind. All of us dream every night. The majority of the world sees dreams as without any meaning, yet our dreams are there for our purpose. Is our subconscious speaking to us in our dreams? Do our dreams contain our innermost secrets? Do they contain messages that can help us? One aspect of dreams that I'm fascinated by is the dream state is a reminder of who we really are. We are all dreamers. We all dream for a better world for our family and ourselves. Our dreams allow us to touch and feel that part of ourselves which is perfect and pure. It guides us, teaches us, and nourishes us. It is one of our best friends because it is part of ourselves. Dreams teach me to tune in and listen to myself. At times, the image will show me where to go and where to turn. There is an active intelligence taking place that brings us into a primordial place. Just think, every night man dies to this world and enters the dream world. Can we merge our consciousness from the dream world into the waking state? What would happen if we learned to consciously day in and day out dream of heaven on earth? Could we somehow bring this unconsciousness into this world? We have this kind of power. Let's unite ourselves and bring our subconscious being into life. For only a small portion of our brain. What would happen if we learn how to use the full capacity? Our body is designed for it. We are truly beings of love. We have just lost sight of who we are. There are millions of people out there who dream for heaven on earth. John Lennon wrote a great song about the power of dreaming. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope that someday you will join us and the world will be as one. The power of dreams. Let this whole planet dream of peace on earth, not only during Christmas, but every day of our lives.